off. We're on our second episode of the Throwing Hands podcast. It's me and Rick. Rick, say what's up.
Hey, what's up?
Nice.
I'm Rick, the pizza cannon.
The pizza cannon, yeah, the white screen pizza cannon. We're gonna get him on camera at some point. Not today, but some point. This episode of Throwing Hands is brought to you by SuperSour and Modelo Especial, Chelada, Limon, and Sal. This is like a Mexican IPA, I call it. Really matches the tone of what we're doing here today. You know what I mean? I would recommend this to you, by the way, bud. I think you'd like this beer.
It's a Mexican IPA. I've been trying to steer away from IPAs.
No, I
know.
call it a Mexican IPA because it's Chelada's Limon and how am I trying? It's lime and salt. So it's got the lime flavor, but it really does have like a saltiness flavor to it. So it's not something that you really want to. I keep pulling the mic away. It's not really something that you want to put down or drink real easy. Like you kind of want to sip on it like an IPA. So I just call it a Mexican IPA, but it's a good beer that
It's fair.
Yeah, but it does kind of sound like it's
sponsored too. By the way, this is a UFC sponsor. There.
Yeah,
you got the Modelo sponsorship. Please reach out.
Yeah, please.
Modelo.
As I say, noted, not a sponsor, but we're down.
You should. We could put like paper around the can so that you can kind of.
Fair enough.
For...
Yeah, I to be fair, I don't think that we say or do anything here on this podcast that the fighters that they sponsor haven't done any worse for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Modelo would probably approve of pretty much anything.
Yeah. Like, we're pretty cool with all those guys there, so we're chill with you guys saying F's and N's and B's. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not the N's. We'll keep those to ourselves. Keep those to Patreon. Any hoodle-eeler. So, lots to talk about in MMA today. We're going to try and keep it nice and short and sweet. We're going to try to because I talk a lot. And Rick's going to do his best to rein me in when he can.
Yeah, I'll be here to keep you from going on a long monologue, but I'll allow you 2 or 3 minutes.
Yep. I appreciate that. You figure out your ways to really cut me off. I call myself the whitest Puerto Rican, because I would say that you can't stop a Puerto Rican Spitfire when he's talking, but you can stop me. I mean,
it's
words.
Just a matter of starting to talk and then you stop, and it's like it just works.
That's the whiteness in me. I go, oh, they're saying something now. Oh, let's.
It's so funny because my old boss used to say that too. He's Puerto Rican, and he explained that he hated doing family gatherings around his family because they wouldn't stop. It would just, as soon as you started talking, the conversation would just become 4 people talking at the same time. Because there's no way to stop them.
Very well known at any Hispanic family gathering, you're not allowed to leave for the next 3 days, because if you try to leave, that's starting a conversation. That's going to keep you there. You can't just leave.
Yeah, you end up in the net on the way out.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about the most previous card, UFC.
We had it was 237?
277.
Right? I actually 277. Man, I am old.
Crazy that you were thinking that, because that's exactly what I was thinking too. I don't know why I'm thinking 237 as well, but no, it's 277.
I want to look that up. Let me look up what 237 was. That was so long ago now.
Watch it be just like some low cards, one of the worst cards they had.
237 was Rose getting power bombed on her head.
Oh no! Why are we thinking about that? I don't ever want to think
Jared
about that.
Cannonier KOs Anderson Silva. This was the night that dreams were shattered.
That's a bad night. I don't like
Alexander Volkanovski beat Jose Aldo. This was like the retirement party for the OGs.
This is the worst UFC. Is what I said. It's the worst. I mean, for people who are fans of the opposite, you know what I mean? They were stoked this night.
Yeah, if you're a new school fan, if you started watching in 2018, 2019, that was probably a super hype card for you.
Right, all your favorites are just dominating. Yeah, it's kind of like how we felt when we were watching John Jones in his prime and shit like that. John Jones, Reese with the background. John Jones. So yeah, I mean the card was pretty good. I honestly, for this one. Your boy has a problem where I drink too much for the fight cards and I end up passing out at the when the main card starts.
At the important parts.
Yeah. So I was actually going against that, and I stayed up for the whole card this time. But because of that, I didn't watch the early prelims too much, and I kind of went in and out on the prelims. But I did want to talk about where is he at? Drew Dober, still out there doing it
Oh my
and
God,
got
Dober
performance of the
has.
night.
Yeah, he's been stealing performance of the night bonuses from newcomers for like 5 years now.
And he looks so happy doing it. he he gets a win against a no. Like I'm like, he fought who? Rafael Alves. I I'm like, I
Yeah,
sure
apparently he's really good. I don't know. Yeah, sure.
not good enough to beat Drew Dober. Tell you that much.
Well, that's the thing is he's one of those guys. He's been around long enough. Like nobody, you just sleep on him. But
Yeah,
like I'm happy for him. Dude can like he could beat under top 15 guys for the next 10 years.
Drew Dober looks like he looks like Wayne from Letterkenny, and I think that's why he secretly beats ass. He's just I don't think he's Canadian at all. But I'm pretty sure he's got some type of Canadian blood in him that just allows him to. And that jaw, I mean, that jaw is nothing but. I mean, clearly he's put metal in there.
Yeah, he's got the Giga Chad jaw.
The Giga Chad, that's true. Yeah, he's the Crimson Chin for real. The Nega Chin.
I don't know if you could say that. That might be
No. It'll just get their attention. They'll have to roll it back a couple times, but they'll hear it. Going into the main card was really good. I hate seeing Anthony Smith lose. I don't know why. He's just such a nice guy, and he shouldn't fight anymore. He's actually a pretty good announcer, an analyst, and be pretty happy if he just stop fighting in general. I don't. It's like it's like watching BJ Penn fight at this point. It's a little bit better because Anthony Smith is clearly still young. But I'm like, he goes in there again. When I saw he was gonna fight fucking Magomed, I was like, no way, bro. There's no way. Right up the top, not winning that fight.
Yeah, I saw that the last three letters of his opponent's last name were AEV, and I was like, yeah, he's got that one on a loss for sure.
I don't know why if anybody saw AEV, Magomed, and they would go, that's the fight I want. I mean, I want big bucks for that fight,
But you never know. Maybe Anthony Smith is getting like bonuses under the table. I mean, that's the thing. He never like puts on a boring fight. He gets smashed when he gets smashed. Like he's either super entertaining and competitive with somebody, or he just gets like embarrassed.
Being these guys who are like analysts now, like for UFC, who are still young and fighting, it's kind of like having like a night job. It's like I like moonlighting. They're like, I mean, if I win or lose my next fight, it's cool. I'm gonna get paid for all these analyst jobs anyway. I mean,
Yeah, that's the dream job, right? Like you
Yeah.
go from getting punched in the face to watching other people get punched in the face, and then
100%.
and you get a front row seat for every fight.
Yeah.
So it's like, of course you want to do that.
You can talk all the shit you want. You don't have to worry about it like turning into a fight. I'm just telling people what's going on.
Or like it's almost better if it does turn into a fight if you're like an analyst or a commentator
Yeah,
talking trash, and then you end up like actually scoring a fight against like Conor McGregor. You're like,
Oh,
all right, I
man.
mean, I'll come out of retirement to
That's a
fight
good point.
John Jones.
What I didn't see was and I'm glad I didn't. I checked out between the fight after Anthony Smith with Alex Perez and Derek Lewis, and I came back for the title fights. But I'm really happy I didn't see the Derek Lewis fight because I never want to see Derek Lewis get knocked out. To me,
Yeah, he needs to stop fighting in Houston. Somebody tell him he needs to travel if he's going to fight. Because whenever he fights in Texas, the dude does not do well. Anywhere else, he like boops somebody on their nose once and they go out.
it's a whole. I don't even know what the math is behind that, honestly. But did you see the knockout? How bad was the knockout?
I mean, it wasn't the worst. He wasn't like out, but it was clear that he was not going to be winning.
That sucks. I mean, it sucks and it doesn't. Like Derek Lewis is a guy I just happen to like in the UFC. I mean, he doesn't make any waves for the division. You know what I mean?
I feel like you never want to miss a Derek Lewis fight.
No, you never want.
Except for that one. You want to miss those ones where he loses.
I'm glad I did. I don't need to watch that back. Don't need to see the replay. Brandon Moreno, he scores the KO TKO. That was the second body shot KO of the night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It was one of the undercard guys who got the body shot.
They got
KO.
like a punch to the body KO. I don't remember who that was, but
I don't know. I liked Moreno though. He still looks like it looks like he's even better than he was in his last fight, which is crazy because he was like amazing in his first title fight.
Yeah, the whole moment, like I saw it, I was like, awesome kick to the body, great fights the whole time, and then, oh man, who's the Dennis Figueiredo, right? The guy who's supposed to be
Davison.
champ, Davidson Figueiredo.
Davison Figueiredo.
It just so cringe, ruined the whole moment. Tried to have this whole like GSP, Matt Hughes, Brock Lesnar, Daniel Cormier, and just Brandon Moreno, like not like in two ways, like in the English to Spanish barrier, and also like the just like conversational barrier and like promoting barrier. Like he did not break through any of those, and he just kept with his speech that nobody understood. And it really fucked up Figueiredo's like momentum to go in there and be like, I'm the champ, and I'm like, he's not even paying attention to you, and this is really cringe. And the fact that he held it for so long, and then just to slowly put his hand down and be like, all right, I'll listen to what he has to say now.
Yeah, it was pretty it was very cringe. It gave me the Tito Ortiz vibes from the Stefan Bonner fight.
Oh
Have
my
you
god,
ever seen
yeah.
that one?
Yeah,
If you have that clip, splice it in here. It's
I'll
gold.
splice that in there when we can. Yeah,
Just
when we edit
like
that.
like 3 frames of it so that you don't get pulled for content.
Good point. Good point.
But it is like one of the cringiest things ever to happen in the octagon, and eerily similar to the Davison Figueiredo
I
moment.
mean, it was just, and then for him to like then Moreno puts out the hand like we're cool, like I can't wait to fight you, and it's like, okay, well, he like realizes, he's like, well, you sucked all the momentum out of me selling this fight, so I guess, yeah, let's just do this as like cool guys now. And then he goes to grab his right hand with his left hand and then realizes he fucked up and has to like adjust, and I'm like, oh, it got worse.
The belt. He had to move the belt.
He had to move the belt. I'm like, oh, it got
It,
worse.
it made it worse somehow.
That's
It's
what I was
like,
thinking.
all right, now we got to switch hands, and now I'm out of frame. We got to redo the shot. Can we just have a do-over? Go back and knock him out again. I'll go back into the.
I'm gonna go back into the
the
stands.
audience.
Yeah. This time I'm gonna hop the cage, and I'm gonna make it more momentous.
I need you this time. When I go to hop the cage, I need you to climb the cage and jump out at my team, Khabib style.
Yeah, we need to really sell this thing. And Dana's like, you know what? Honestly, that was so bad. Let's do it. Let's reset, like Vince McMahon style. Reset the match.
Yeah.
And then of course the night ended where I was extremely happy, where Amanda Nunes retained, did retain essentially, but
Honestly,
got her title back against that piece of shit Juliana Pena. Ugh, I was so upset when Pena. And before I even go on to this rant, let me just say that Pena brought it in that fight. I was sitting there like mad because I'm like, yo, this bitch is still bringing it right now, and she's making me worried.
Yeah, she gave me real Colby Covington vibes in that fight. Because,
Yeah.
like, I hated it, but she was so good that I'm like, oh man, I could reasonably foresee you winning at any moment, but like I don't want you to, like, really bad.
Yeah, and I had to give her that respect in that for that exact thing, because I go, it's like, part of a Nunes dominating that fight was being able to officially stuff the takedown. Like, she's one of those fighters where it's like she didn't use any excuses, and then afterwards, like months later, she did it the right way. Months later, she was like, yo, like I was sick, I got off COVID, like I had injuries, and then like yeah, she proved it. She's like, no, for real, like healthy me, I dominate this bitch every day of the week. And I told Reese when we were watching, I go, see how last time she did some fucking stupid lioness intro thing, and this time she's not? I was like, because she's focused now. Now she's focused. She's going to get that belt back.
Yeah, she definitely had. I was surprised because Dana White came out and said that, like, she looked gun shy in that fight, or like she didn't look like herself, and I was like, no, man, she looked like she was ready to knock. She knocked her down 3 times with punches. Like, it wasn't like she
tried
was
to finish it every time.
Nothing. Yeah, I guess like maybe on the ground she didn't like follow her to the ground, but like why would you? I mean,
because
you want to force her to get back up. She's the bigger girl. Like,
yeah,
you want to make her tired.
Also, at the end of the day, like, as much jiu-jitsu, as everybody's like, well, she's a black belt, she should be on the ground. It's like, tired wrestling dominates tired jiu-jitsu every day of the week. Like, it's slippery and tired jiu-jitsu. Your whole point is to submit them, and if you're working from the back, from the side, you're barely going to get anything, and your attempts mean dog shit. But the wrestler who's just going to lay on there and just make movement, transition, dominate you, gain points, gain time. Like, yeah, I don't want to fuck with that either.
Yeah, like in round 3, you finally start getting knockdowns. It's like that's not the time to follow your opponent to the mat and hope that maybe you can pound them out. Like, no, you get they're tired. You knocked them down, make them stand back up, and
Hell yeah.
it was a good, and it works, especially for someone like Nunez, who like
Yeah.
she's the hardest hitter, at least in my opinion, for women's like pretty much any. Maybe she's a little bit behind when it comes to like Shevchenko when it comes to like stopping power from punches,
Yeah, that's a
but
good point.
she's like top 3 hardest hitters for any women's division.
For sure. I mean, it's so funny. She became in the beginning of the fight like she was getting that counter hook. I think it was counter left, counter right. By the way, she was getting that counter hook. And dude, she started like a kid who learned a move in a video game. She was like, "Oh, this works easy. I get this every day of the week." Bam! It was actually comical to watch at some point.
It was
Uh,
it was crazy to me how well she was slipping punches from Juliana too, because like it
yeah.
seemed like she just had way more energy in this fight than the last one. Like she was able to get out of the way a lot more often.
Right. And to be fair, well, actually to be unfair to Juliana, my respect for her that I have in the fight is really only limited to the fact that Nunes was able to stuff her. Because otherwise, if she wasn't and she was just taking her down the whole fight to game, I would have hated that bitch so much. But I had to give her respect because she couldn't get the takedown. And then she went at Nunes like that's how she just, like you said, Colby Covington style, just got in her
Just
face and was
pressure.
like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't."
I didn't get you that time, but I'm gonna keep hitting you, and then maybe I'll get you the next time.
Yeah, I mean, that's where even Nunes. Nobody would see that fight and be like, "This bitch sucks." If you did, you don't care. You don't actually see like that what happened, like what we just called out. And if you had a different opinion, hopefully we change that shit. Cause figure it the fuck out, bud.
Yeah.
Let's keep
Did
going.
you
Oh, go ahead.
did you happen to because I mean I know we probably want to talk about the next card coming up. But did you happen to see any of the contender series this week?
No, I wanted to start watching Contender because I don't watch it at all. But no, what's
They're
up with
usually trash, but this week was like all just straight fire. Like every fight was really good. All of them were like wars.
Okay.
Like you should at least watch the highlights because that
Okay.
was like it was the first time that I'd watched like the highlights of a contender series and been like, oh man, I'm kind of upset I missed that. But they're starting to get really good.
Yeah, I'll have to check those out because I mean, well, it's probably sucked for a while because they bred so many stars for like the first half, and then you can't get good stars every single day, I would suppose. But after they got Patty and all the few heavyweights that suck now, and Sean, But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have to start watching that so I can start bringing that to the table too, see what's going on over there on Contender. Yeah, we'll talk about the next. I'm honestly not really excited for the next card. I don't want to get into too much of everything here because I want to get everything out of the way before we have to let you go. But um, the next week card, dude, what's up with like is Dana White just like really pushing for that money? Where he's like, we need to have a card. I remember there was a time where we'd have to be like, there's no UFC for 2 weeks right now. Like that's just how it is, and now there's a UFC every single weekend, every single Saturday. It's a little tiring.
Yeah, that's been my hardest like the hardest part for me is just like I can't keep up with all this, man. I got stuff to do. I can't like every Saturday you want me to watch fights, and then now they have the contender series too, and then
Yeah,
there's
they
like
keep brought Ultimate
sometimes they
Fighter
have
back.
middle of the week. Yeah, it's like there's just too much going on, and I have my dudes that I want to see fight, but I don't even know where they're fighting anymore because you got like 16 cards coming up in the
Yeah,
next 2 months.
and that brings us to a good point to talk about like this next card. I was looking at it right, and honestly, so I'm looking at the main card, and I go, so it's Tiago Santos versus Jamal Hill. Oh, I know who Jamal Hill is. Okay, yeah, he's the dude with the two tattoos. He got the on his chest like this, weirdo.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Um,
Hey, he's good. He's a strange dude. He's definitely out there, but I think he's got skills. I don't know if he's got Thiago Santos skills, but also
no,
Thiago Santos blew out his knees and like is basically just walking on crutches permanently. So he
good point.
might be able to make it work. That's another issue for me with a lot of these cards is like I see these guys that are finally getting exciting fights, but it's like 2 years past the time that they should have been getting them. So
Oh, for sure, yeah,
like
because they were so focused in like trying to make them like Tiago Santos. They were like, well, maybe he could be the guy who takes out John. All these guys in light heavyweight in certain divisions, it's like that. They breed them to be these guys that, like, maybe he's the guy to take out the best. And it's like, just give him good fights.
Sure, but yeah, just give him an entertaining. I don't care if he can beat John Jones or whatever. Like, I want to see what he can do versus just a random dude in the division. Give him a top 5 guy, and we'll see what happens.
Well, that's like how, Sean O'Malley in his last fight, I forget the guy who he fought, and they ended with the eye pokage, which that was not an eye poke, but that last fight, I didn't even realize, like, Sean O'Malley wasn't even ranked yet, and that was his ranking fight, and he fought number 2 or 3 in the world or some shit like that in their division.
I think he was like number 4 or something like that. He was up there. Definitely top 10
for a ranking fight. For that being Sean O'Malley, just to what you're saying, like, that's wild. Like, no, you should give these kinds of guys, like, at that point, like, give him number, like, for example, like Jamal Hill's fighting Thiago Santos, who's number 6, which that kind of makes sense. I mean, that's pretty fair.
Yeah, like, I feel like giving somebody a top 5 opponent when they're not in the top 10 is, like, it's kind of just a sacrifice. You know what I mean? Unless it's somebody who wants to get, like, who wants to get the fast train to the belt. There's no reason to do that. There's enough, like, I think it's weird that, like, fighting up in weight, in, like, ranking is considered the norm for MMA, because, like,
it is, yeah.
Like, guys like Sean O'Malley will come out and say, like, no, feed me guys who are, like, unranked. Like, just keep letting me get the fights in, because, like, that gets the people excited, and if I'm good enough, I'll keep winning them, and then you could throw me in there against, like, maybe 1 or 2 top 5 guys, and then after that, you better give me the belt or I'm not doing it. Like,
it's literally how they workshop their career modes in the UFC games. Like, you fight, they in the games, in the UFC games in career mode, doesn't matter who you are, they give you cupcakes after cupcakes until eventually they go, oh, you have enough fans to go fight so-and-so. They recognize it. I'm like, it's funny because that's not how it works in the real world at all. That's how they portray it to work, but that's not how it works at all. You can be unranked and then get 2 flash knockouts, and then they'll be like, well, there's nobody who can fight the champ right now. You want to fight him?
And I guess it really depends on the division too, because like, that's definitely true at heavyweight. Like, if we had, like, a new sign on, like, right now, somebody just got drafted into the UFC from, like, I made the joke, if like an NFL team folded and we got, like, 14 former NFL players into the UFC, reasonably one of those guys could, like, win 2 fights and then fight for the belt.
For sure.
And, like, that's just how they do it.
They would have, at least within 7 of those 14, one of those guys would beat Ngannou, and then they would have the other 14 just constantly cycling and just be that folded football team, just fighting for the belt.
Somebody needs to. We gotta dissolve football. Let's dissolve the Falcons. Let's get all of them.
That's a good team to choose.
Put them all into the UFC.
No. Let's Detroit Lions. Let's do the Detroit Lions. Let's fold them.
Yeah.
They don't make a lot of money anyway. Let's fold them.
Yeah, you can get the Lions for cheap too. And like, then, their contract wouldn't break the bank for.
Here's a side idea for Dana. Don't even put them into the UFC. Make a whole different side division, which just adds more things for us to watch. Yes, but it's a whole different division where it's just all 16, 14 of those dudes just fighting it out every week. I'd watch that. See who the champion is between the Detroit Lions.
That's what they really got. That's the dream right there, is if we just get the NFL teams to sign up for, like, you guys, everybody gets 5 people on your roster that can fight in this tournament. And then they do, like, weekly tournaments where it's, this time it's the Bills versus the Lions, and we're going to see who has the best fighters on their NFL
Somebody's going to see this and steal this damn idea.
You're getting CTE anyway. You might as well be getting punched in the face.
Yeah, sure, you're taking a significant pay cut. Sure, but I mean...
But think about all the fans and the exposure.
Right. I mean, think about how much money you're going to make Dana, That's the real...
Yeah, could you imagine all those Reebok... Oh, sorry, it's Venom now. The Venom coupons that you'll get for it. You'll get, like, at least you get a 16-pack of Modelos for every fight that you win.
Yes, for sure. He might even offer you a Bitcoin. He might offer you one. I don't know.
He might. He'll get a voucher
at the most.
For 10% off of a Bitcoin.
The worst. That's sad. What you were saying earlier, where it's like trying to see your guys fight and then not, being Smiling Sam Alvey's on this card. He's the headliner for the prelims, and he's gonna lose because the last 3 letters in this guy's name that he's fighting is ZUK. So
Yeah, that's pretty obvious.
Big
If it's a
chance.
Zuck, that's a nope.
Big big chance he loses.
You get Zuck, you get fucked.
That's
what it
there
is.
we go. That's what we'll say. Sam, you chose the Zuck. Now it's time to get fucked. Yeah, which you know me. I love me. I've seen Sam Alvey fight live. He's the greatest guy ever. He's also extremely fun to watch live. He's one of the rare people you would go, I like to watch that fighter live because he's just, I don't know, he comes out, he's smiling, he's giving everybody thumbs up, he's telling everybody to cheer. Win or lose, he gets up, he smiles, and then he's like, I hope everybody's having a good time. Drink up, and yeah. I'm like, cool. And then he's like, I'm gonna go home now.
Yeah, right.
It,
There's always been guys like that. Like you remember Dennis Seaver? Dennis Seaver is one of those dudes that I was like, he always makes me happy because
yeah,
like
they
he's not
found
the
his
best fighter,
fossils
but
recently, didn't they? I think they
I
just.
think so, probably.
Yeah, no, Dennis Seaver. There's a lot of guys like that, especially what's her name? Patty's friend, who's like that.
Molly McCann.
Yeah, I just talked about it in the
Yeah,
last podcast. I don't even remember her name.
she's a beast. Look, Molly McCann is actually amazing. Actually, they have another guy out of their camp, Adam Wilson, that I did an interview with. He's like a bantamweight, but he fights in Cage Warriors, I think, right now or something like that. He was undefeated. He lost his last fight though, so I put out a highlight vid for him. Worst possible timing. I put it together and then I sent it to him, and then he lost his next fight, and I was like, sorry, bro, you still got some good fights
Yeah,
though.
you still got all that. Just look at those if you think that you're not actually good at that. Yeah, I heard before. We won't talk too much more about this card. Terrence McKinney's fighting on this card. A lot of no names, but that's fine. I mean, make a name for us so that way we can watch.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes those are the ones that are like they're the sleeper cards.
Yeah, like submission after submission, KO after
nobody
KO.
knows who they are, so they're there to put on a fight, and they want to get their name out there. So
they
sometimes
better.
those end up being the real MVP for UFC card.
If I was Dana for all their fights, every single one of these new and up and comer guys, I'd walk into their locker room and just one quick head poke in, don't fuck up, and just walk right back out.
Well, like it's funny you say that because I think that's had to do with why that Dana White's Contender Series was so good, was because after last week's, I guess, like all the fights were really boring. A bunch of the guys were kind of coasting or like not really trying to finish the fight, just trying to win so that they could get that contract, which is silly to me that you would do that because okay, great, I get 12K now, like you're all right, I got my fast food job out of Dana White, like okay, but they're like, why would you do that when you could go in and put on a fight and then have the potential for him to give you that bonus for 50K, and then like you start getting the name recognition, you get a 10K sponsorship. It's totally worth it to do that. So he made a statement after the last Dana White's Contender Series, kind of just explaining that like, hey, there was one guy on this card who got signed, and if you want to be like a fighter, be like him. Be somebody who goes out there and like actually tries to finish the fight and be entertaining. And then sure enough, this week, like all bangers. Everyone on the Contender Series. Now. I'm pretty sure they were all finishes now. I think there might have been one decision, but it was like action packed.
Oh man. I'm definitely gonna have to go watch that highlight now. I'm really, because just like the Ultimate Fighter when he gave that speech, I'm like, as much as I hate Dana sometimes, the man knows how to get fighters hyped up. I'll tell him that much. He knows how to not pay them a lot and then go fucking fight good, and then they go okay, sure. I will do that actually.
And they will. Yeah, and they do.
And they'll do it.
And then he's like, good, here's your
and then 5 years down the road they go, man, Dana's not paying me enough. This is bullshit, as they're getting, 50K or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you hear we'll talk I only have like a couple more topics to go over. I know you don't have too much more time, but did you hear about Molly, like with she had that interview with Dave Portnoy where she said all the things she wasn't supposed to do, like I guess the UFC told her not to do certain things after the fight.
I did not. No.
She says that she was told after the fight, do not curse, do not jump over the cage, and don't drink any beers with any fans. And after the fight, in her interview, she had them sing some song. I guess it has curse words in it. I didn't realize that, but she had them sing some song, and then she jumped the cage, obviously, and then she drank Howlerhead all night from fans. So she just told Dave Portnoy, she was like, we'll see.
He said, don't jump the fence, don't drink alcohol from the fans, and don't swear. So I jumped the fence, I drank a bottle of Howlerhead, and I made 18,000 people sing "Fuck the Tories." So, tick, tick, tick.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you can't. I feel like you do that for like you're basically antagonizing the fighter there. If you're like, hey, I want
Oh,
you to
for
come to this
sure.
event where your partner is going to be fighting and then probably win. Like realistically, Patty's going to win. Everybody knew that.
Yeah. And
But
she was dominant too. She got that spinning elbow knockout that night.
yeah, it's right. That was crazy. But like your whole team's winning. Of course, you're gonna go out there and party. Like, why wouldn't you? I don't
For
know why
sure.
he would even
Everybody
say not
loved
to do
it.
that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure she got away with all of it. Dana, there's no way Dana was like, "Oh, we got to punish her." Like, Dana, that's your new star in the women's division, so you better chill out. Which I'm sure he was fine with it. Let's see. We won't talk about that. Let's talk about some potential matchups, and then we'll talk about we'll talk about some potential matchups, and then we'll watch a fight video. That's something I'm doing on here now. We'll just watch a street fight video and talk over that. But I saw some potential matchups. I think they said this is about to get signed, which is Dustin versus Michael Chandler. And I think that's going to be a sick fight if that really does.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a banger alert.
That's you can't miss that. That's one that you have to you DVR that.
DVR.
Upload it to the cloud.
You TiVo that.
Copy of it.
Yeah. You tape that.
Put your VHS on.
Yeah.
Tape over your 13th birthday footage. You need that one.
That's I like the phrase banger alert. I don't know when that got like super put into the zeitgeist for UFC, but I love that. That's every good fight now. Banger alert. That's like UFC. That's how they announce it. And I'm like, that's so weird, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's true.
Accurate.
Yeah, it's accurate. Don't really have much prediction for that fight, to be honest with you. I mean, that's a tough one to call, but I think Dustin takes it. He's just longer.
Yeah, that one's like, boy, it's tough because see the thing is like Chandler's a really good wrestler, but Dustin has the like famous guillotine. Like he's got a really good guillotine like off of a takedown. He's really good at stuffing it and then grabbing the head and not doing the thing where you reach around. He like waits until they've taken him down to actually put his hands together and start like he has the technique down for that. But Chandler also just he has the touch of death too. So it's like you might just if it's early enough and you catch an overhand right from him, it's not a good time.
Dustin's got a mean darce too. That's one of my favorite submissions. He's got a fucking super mean darce. I don't think it's something he focuses on, but I've seen him finish a fight twice with a darce.
Yeah, I think he has three finishes
yeah.
via darce. I want to say that's accurate. Somebody's gonna hear this and be like, "No, you're fucking stupid." I have Wikipedia right here.
The one comment. It's gonna be you. You comment on it after
me. I will. You caught me.
All right. Then the other one I'm hearing, they're just putting this around, and I don't think this because there's at this point now, I'd say at least 2 to 3 different good matchups. No, because Nate's no longer a good matchup. Connor versus Patty. They're talking Connor versus Patty. Because Nate is no longer a talk because he's gonna have his one fight with I already forgot. Oh yeah.
However you say his name,
Chimaev. Yeah.
And
and then he's done. So he's no longer in the picture for Connor, which sucks. Love to see that rubber match, but
they're gonna pull that one out of their ass like 15 years from now. They'll do the like 50-year-old.
I'm hoping for 2.
MMA
I'm hoping for 2 years down the road they'll pull that out.
No, we'll get a Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz, but it'll be Connor versus Nate 3.
That's sad, but probably true.
It's accurate. Dana's not paying them enough to. Connor's gonna make some bad investments. He's gonna lose like $30 million, and then be like, "Hey Nate, you wanna rake up some cash together?"
Yeah, dog.
In a parking lot in Bozeman, Montana, somewhere.
Yeah, dog. That's tight. I'm gonna bring Nick with me if that's cool. Yeah, bring your whole team. Your whole team. I don't care. And then they go right back into the shit talk. That's just like that. They agree, and then they just shit talk it out.
But Connor's still got the beard. It's all like salt and peppery because he's like 48 in this scenario.
Yeah, Nate looks exactly the same, but he just looks a little bit more wrinkly. Like he's just got a couple more wrinkles and spots.
Nate looks like his cheeks have been like his both sides of his face have been like leather for the last like 4 years, just tanning in the sun. So like he's got so much scar tissue that now he's old and it's just like a massive mess. But other than that, looks exactly the same.
Do you think they're gonna make that fight, Connor versus Patty? I have only heard them talk about it twice. I don't know if it's got any legs though.
I don't think it's really like a realistic thing. I mean, maybe I think that's a fight that like Connor might be interested in taking. Like, if Patty manages to kind of make his way through the division
They
in
make
a
some
meaningful way, and not
stupid
just like
Irish
we set up
belt.
a
They're like,
yeah,
who's
like
king of the Irish or whatever.
well, it's just silly because like they kind of just set up this whole card to showcase their fighters, and like they all kind of got favorable matchups. But I mean, I'm here for it. Patty's a good fighter. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
knock him or anything. I just feel like it's he's got to put in some more work before McGregor would take that fight because
Yeah.
he doesn't have quite the star power yet.
Patty's got the fans. He just needs to really start solidifying. I mean, he's dominating his fights. Well, no, he's not dominating, but he's winning his fights. He's got us. I mean, especially with his whole speech in the last fight and everything, and all his talks. And I love when he eats pizza in the post pressers. I love that. I love that he likes to be fat when he can. I mean, he's got us, but he just needs to. I don't know. He gets rocked too much. I'm like, yeah, he won the fight, but he could have lost like 2 or 3 times in the fight too. So there's that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's good, but he's not
good.
like he gets hit a lot. It's not like he's dominating every fight. He's not pulling the Connor thing. Like he doesn't have that kind of streak behind him right now.
Right. And the last thing I want to talk about before we watch this video is that I'm more excited for bare knuckle BKFC's next card more than I am for UFC's next card. And that's only because they have, I don't know if you've seen that cards lineup, but it's MVP's Michael Venom Page's first fight in bare knuckle versus Platinum Mike Perry for the main event, the headline event.
Which one?
And BKFC, bare knuckle fighting.
I feel like bare knuckles, like it's hard to take him seriously, but
yeah,
I do love the fights. So like I don't really know.
It is hard to take them seriously, but
you know what? I don't have a gauge for them for like their fights. I can't compare it to
right
like
now
a former BKFC. Like
yeah, they just they just have this thing where they're starting to get people like that you want to see fight in the UFC, and they're not. They're in BKFC, so it's like like I would love to see Michael Venom Page fight in UFC, but he's not. Apparently, he's going to be in BKFC, so it's like all right. Same for Mike Perry. I'm like Mike Perry's.
Yeah,
thought you had a friend, boy. Thought you had a friend, and now he's in BKFC. It's a little unfortunate. And
didn't they just get Sanchai too?
Yeah.
Didn't Sanchai sign somewhere? That's like I just think that's so weird that.
And they also have Paige Van Zandt. Paige Van Zandt's fighting that night too.
I did. Yep. It's weird. That's what I mean. I can't really have an opinion on it because it's like I don't know. It's not what I want to see you guys doing. I want to see like MMA, but like I'm there for it. I still want to see the stand up.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't even seen one of their fights in full, to be honest. Just like some highlights here and there, and Yeah,
it's good. It's just
hard
like
it's hard to contest with the UFC.
Yeah, it just doesn't keep my entertainment as high up there. You know, my entertainment bar dips a little between MMA and BKFC.
Exactly. So before we go here on this second episode of Throwing Hands, we're gonna watch a street fight as we do. And see what's happening, see what's going on. This is a 5v1 in the streets of Austin, Texas. It's probably right after a Kill Tony, if I had to assume. Kill Tony's in Austin, Texas now. They're not in LA anymore. So,
see it.
All right. So let's see how this goes. I was watching a little bit of this. I think you're gonna like it. So, guy in the red hat's definitely the main guy who's going to be 1v5ing. Big Nate Diaz vibes.
Yeah, he reminds me of like a Tony Nate combo.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what? Tony Max Holloway I'm seeing. Or Nate Max Holloway. Ooh.
Yeah.
Swinging. Okay, ducking, swinging, banging.
Smart.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Okay.
Smart to get away.
Keeping himself up. Smart though. He's keeping himself upright, which is
boom.
Like,
clock guy in the Yankees. I get stopped. Hey, listen.
I mean, that was actually surprisingly civil. For like how many people were there?
Yeah, for a 1v5 especially.
They managed to make that into like as fair of a 1 versus 5 fight as you could.
And listen, knocking out 3 out of 5, that's pretty good. that's above average, bud, as we like to say here. I mean, that straight. That's when I started seeing Nate Diaz, Max Holloway mix right there. He's talking that shit. He's pounding the chest. I'm like, that's a little bit of both of them. And then he just boxed him up, and he just knew how to get away from him when he swarmed him. You said kept his head up, kept his hands up, swerved out, ran when he needed to, stopped.
Good technique. He kept enough distance between them, and when he ran, he didn't like Naruto run where you lean forward and like catch a boot to the face. Like he ran upright with his hands up, like he was just getting out of there. It was
hard to
impressive.
do all this in the moment, super hard to do all of it in the moment, and you could tell it's at that moment you realize, oh, that kid, that guy definitely like has boxed for a while in his life, or he boxes currently or whatever.
He's been in some fights before. That was not his first fight.
That was not drunk confidence, that was I'm drinking and I can fight confidence. That's
that's the fun kind. Like that was like entertaining.
That's Ian confidence right there. Ian, that's what Ian would do.
Honestly, I could imagine the fight going almost exactly the same.
Just about. And those two other guys, they were standing ready to fight him, but I'm like, it's funny because they're ready, but then although the crowd starts, really realizing, and I think they have a moment of like, let's not do this. It's more so the guy telling him like, yo, he just knocked out 3 of our friends. Let's just regroup and get out of here.
Yeah, those two were like, hey, man, you don't tell anybody, I don't tell anybody. And they just agreed.
Fade into the crowd. Boom.
Like, take off the hat. You just turn your shirt inside out. Nobody will know it was you. We'll just pretend this didn't happen.
All right, I think we're good. I think we talked about everything. We pretty much gave predictions for the next week's fight. I mean, there's not too many fights to give predictions on. I mean, I think we're pretty much in agreement. Thiago Santos is going to win. Sam Alvey's going to win. Those are the 2 main fights that are important to talk about, really.
Yeah, I would say I agree.
Yeah,
it's got to be. I would say Santos has the main one. I think the other, like the co-main, I think is Luque.
Yeah,
Vincent Luque versus Jeff Neal.
Yes,
I think Neal takes that, but Luque is like actually a beast. Neal has really good boxing. Like I think if it's standing, he's gonna win for sure. But if he gets him down, Luque could just elbow him into a different dimension.
It's there's parts of these fights where I start to analyze them kind of like how you are right now, and then there's I need to get that off there. There's problems I'm having with these weight divisions, talking about them, like welterweight, when I realize like, oh, that's going to be a good fight. What's it at? Oh, welterweight? Oh, is it at featherweight? Was that lightweight? Oh, okay, well, I guess it really doesn't matter who wins, does it? Because the champion seems to be a god of some kind in those divisions. We'll wrap it up. Before we finish, just want to remind everybody to stay active in the comments. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed already. It's an easy way to help us out if you don't want to help out with any of buying merch or being part of the Patreon. Super easy to just subscribe. Share to the people that you hate the most. Share to people who don't know anything about MMA. Share to the people who do know about MMA. Tie-dye all those buttons up for us. Just throw some tie-dye all over them and make it look pretty. And we appreciate you. This is our MMA podcast on the SuperSour Network with Throwing Hands. Rick, thanks for being here, bud.
No problem. Wash your hands, people.
Wash your hands.